and thanks for tuning in for another session of Back Porch Catechetics with Dr. Humphreys. In this short video, I'd like to introduce the virtues. Paul tells us that we should constantly meditate and reflect upon the virtues. Anything that's true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, whatever is gracious. If there's any excellence, any virtue in it, then think about it. And the Catechism tells us that the primary way we think about these things is as a habit. A virtue is a habitual and firm disposition to do the good. Now, we're all familiar with habits. Habits are things that we have. That's in fact the root in the Latin, and many Romance languages have a similar verb, to have, to hold. And of course, we often make the joke about a habit. Do you have the habit, or does the habit have you? We're talking about who's in control, who's in charge, who holds this action, this disposition. The basic idea is that God gives us some ability, some desire, some disposition, and it's truly ours. It belongs to us. Now, at first, those gifts are tiny. We may need to fan their flames so that they become raging infernos for us to desire, to look after, to do the good. We think of these habits in two primary categories. We speak of the human or the cardinal virtues, in some distinction to the theological virtues. The human virtues are those virtues that we can more or less do on our own. It's reasonable to expect humans, whether they're baptized Christians or not, to be able to follow these kinds of virtues. The cardinal virtues are traditionally listed as four: prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance. These are the kinds of things that we ought to be able to develop on our own. In the other side of the coin, we think about the theological virtues. The theological virtues of faith, hope, and love always require God's action first. They require special moments of grace, like at our baptism, when we receive the grace of faith, and then this unfolds within us and becomes our lifelong habit. Virtues can sometimes be a scary concept for us to try to understand, or especially for us to try to form ourselves or form others. I think the lens that the Catechism gives us, that a virtue is a habit, helps us, because we actually know a lot about forming habits and how to help others break bad habits, cycles of temptation, and convert them into good habits. Just think about a simple example, like when you want to move your mid-afternoon snack from a bag of potato chips to eating an apple. At first you have to be very deliberate, and there's almost a war, two things raging within you. One, desiring those chips, the force of the old habit, and two, the desire for the new habit, eating the apple. For me, it takes 7 or 8 days to completely convert my habit from wanting the chips to wanting the apple. In a lot of ways, the other human virtues work the same way. We can make plans to try to be stronger or more temperate, more prudent. We can reach out on our own, and we can ask for lots of human support in developing those habits. We can also learn to be supportive of our neighbors as they work on and develop those habits. Developing theological virtues can be a little trickier, but it follows the same sensibility that a habit is something rooted within us, and we must let it grow, develop deeper roots, and blossom in the full life of faith, hope, and love.